chat to live chat. Refresh the streams, There it is. Excellent. 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 Be excellent to each other. Whatever. Hey, good morning, good morning. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo, with yet another episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. Let's get into it. Okay. Switch. Oh yes, look at that. How nice. How nice. Back to game. Back to the game. Where am I standing? What am I standing on? What is this? It's a giant redstone contraption. My goodness. What is going on here? Hey! So, just to give you an idea of where you are, this is we're at my base. We're on the north side of my base. And what this is the train station I made. Yay! I made a train station. Look at these reflections, dude. How nice. It's the rainbow reflections. The rainbow reflections. Yeah, this is a train station I made. It took like a lot of hours. A lot more hours than I anticipated. It took a lot of hours. But it works just like all the other train stations. More or less, right? More or less. This thing is an amalgamation of all the train stations I read about, I watched on YouTube. Because they've been making train stations for years, but everyone's got their own flavor of train station. So, like, I learned all of them. And I, like, combined all the parts into my own amalgamation of train station. So it's like, yeah, there's aspects of other train stations in this one, but it's never been combined like the way I do it. And you see here all the repeaters are all lit up. Will are the repeaters lit up? It's because I needed to invert the signal. The signal was the tracks. These tracks will turn depending on their orientation, north, south, east, west. So if you have the incorrect orientation, the tracks will be turned the wrong way. And I wanted my departure station to be on that side. So I needed to invert the signal in order to get them this way. But it's just a bunch of redstone stuff. If you want to learn how to make the station, I mean, you're pretty much looking at it. Like, there's a solid block with a button in it. And you press the button, it powers that block. When you power that block, it does two things. The signal splits into two. One signal goes down, and another signal goes across. So the signal that goes across shoots off the dropper up into the hopper, which is pointed into the hopper next to it. So it'll shoot it up, and then go across to the hopper pointing down, and then it will fall down into that dropper. At the same time, the signal is going down to that redstone, which feeds into this repeater, which delays the redstone signal a little tiny bit. It delays it, because that's what repeaters do. It powers this block right here, which then powers this dropper. And that dropper will then shoot whatever it has inside of it into this dropper. Now, the timing this works is that whenever something's in the front one, like it's resting here normally, and when you launch it, it'll get put into that one. When it's in that one, it gets read by this comparator, and this comparator takes this puny ass 1 power signal and converts it into like another redstone signal, and it breaks into 3 directions. It goes in 3 directions from one signal. First of all, it goes up, which powers the lamp. It goes down, which powers the purple, and it goes across, which powers this guy right here. So that one signal goes up, down, and across. Pretty amazing, right? So when it goes across, it tells it to flip this track. When it goes down, it will either light up a redstone or it will have nothing there. Nothing will happen. So if it lights up the redstone, it will change the orientation of this track from either going up or going to the across. And then finally, down here, we have the pink line. The pink line is the reset line. Whenever a cart travels over this detector rail, it puts out a signal to this redstone, which goes along this line of repeaters. And they're like either fully delayed or not at all delayed, or barely delayed. So I needed to do that to get the timing right. And all it does is it feeds back into that redstone line to reset all the hoppers or all the droppers. That's all it does. All right, so this green line is the recycling line. So if a cart comes down and the cart is empty, it will not trip this line, and it will continue on this way back into the cart return system. If you are a person, you'll trip you can barely see, there's a line there. And it will power this and then do all sorts of neat shenanigans to get you to go the right direction. Alright, so then you go, right? And then you go, and then if you return, then you return on this line. So this is a neat little trick here. This configuration allows you to combine two lines in a vertical level. So these are both train tracks, but they combine on the same vertical line to be one. And then it goes down into here, underneath the train station, where you hit this activator rail, which will kick you out. But when it kicks you out, it kicks you out on top. And then the cart goes back into the system. And then the system, I keep referring to, you can't even see it. Well, all right, I can't show you, but there's a system to bring up the minecart from down here back up into the launcher. Oh, but you can't see it. It's buried. Okay, sorry. but yeah, then and it just works. It just works. It works really good. It took a lot of hours to get this to work. See, and then you're back here. So you can pick any color. Take purple. So you select purple. Maybe I don't want purple. Maybe I want brown. All right, now I switch to brown. Okay, now I'm gonna go on the line. It'll direct me up or down depending. And I'll go, and then the system resets so that I can return to the same place. How nice! If I don't pick brown, I pick red. Let's say I pick red instead. It will take me in a different direction. Down. And I'll go do the thing. So it's the same thing, right? I did this because I don't like going to the nether. The nether, you have to go into a gate and wait. And depending on the version of Minecraft you have, or the mods you have, sometimes the delay is a long time. So like, watch this, right? So I'm gonna go to the nether. Wait. Oh, there it goes. I killed a lot of pigmen that were in here. Because pigmen get spawned by this portal here. I need to like make it stop. Happy Pride Month, by the way. Happy Pride. Yay, Pride. So this month is a month where we recognize and honor our gay and our non-cis people. Wait, how does this colors work? I don't know. Ta-da! That will hopefully limit the number of pigmen that spawn. Because look at all this garbage. Garbage! It's all garbage! Here, do you want to see how the cart return system works? It's the same system here. This is the cart return system. So right here, this is the dispenser, which shoots up the mine cart. Oh, there's only one. Ooh, I should make more. What happens is the mine cart return system, the cart goes into a cactus, and the cactus turns the cart from a entity back into an item. The item falls into this hopper, which goes along the hopper line, into this dropper. And then there's another dropper pointing upwards into the dispenser. So 2 droppers, 1 dispenser. The comparator notices, oh, there's an item in here, and turns on. It does 2 things. Well, it does 1 thing, which is it puts out a signal into this block. It's only a signal strength of 1, so you can only reach 1 block. But the repeater picks it up and blasts it back to 15 strength, which powers this block, which then powers this redstone. So this redstone goes 2 places. One place it goes to is the repeater, which powers this repeater, right? Then it also goes into the side of the comparator. So when it goes into the side of the comparator compares. It compares. It compares the signal strength of this item compared to the signal strength of this item. So remember, the signal strength from one item is going to be 1. So it's a tiny ass signal. But this repeater blasts it back up to 15. So 14, 13. It's reading 13 from the side and reading 1 from the front. When that happens, this signal will turn off. So when the signal's depowered, when the dropper's depowered, it will shoot up whatever is inside of it into the next deal up here. Now, when this repeater directly powers a dropper, it powers 2 blocks, not just 1. It powers this guy, and it also powers this guy. If you only want it to power 1, you have to put a block in front of it. But that's the way Minecraft works. If you power it directly, it powers 2 things. So it powers this one and this one. So if there's an item in here, it gets kicked up to here. If there's an item here, it gets kicked up into here. If it's here, it just waits until the thing above it goes. But yeah, I basically use that. I don't see anyone making train stations anymore because everyone's flying around with elytras. But I'm telling you, train stations are great. I love train stations. Train stations are fantastic. Hey, I should do it like this. Like, sure, elytras are fun, but not everyone has one. And then what happens when you die with no elytra? Or you have no rockets? Then you're stuck walking around. Isn't it nice to create infrastructure so that even if you were to lose your elytra, you would be okay? Wouldn't that be nice? Yes, it is nice. It's happened to me quite a few times, actually, where I've died without and lost my stuff and had to manually walk over to go grab it again. Which, you know, if it's far away, it's pretty terrible. So yes, it was nighttime. I've also done other stuff. Real quick. So I planted a cherry blossom tree here, and it grew up with the beehive. So bees are just hanging out here doing their bee thing. I don't know what they're doing. Spinning around, apparently. Okay, bees, have fun. And then I expanded the farmland to increase my yield of beets and wheat, because it was it lags behind the carrots and potatoes. So to even it out, I just started expanding it, and it's nice, right? It's nice. Look at this funny ass sword. That's a funny sword. It's all shiny and stuff. Okay, yeah. And then, oh yeah, I also added that thing up there. That lets you know if there's items flowing through the item sorter, and then it lets you know where the item is going. That way I know if my machine's working just by looking at this. Like, I can see the wheat or not the wheat, the wool constantly being harvested and then sent to its appropriate location, which is what I want. Yay! And you barely notice that up there. Just giant thing hanging out the side. It took me forever to build this, man. So many hours. I can't believe it. Like, and I know what I'm doing too. I know what I'm doing, and it still took me hours. Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah, it took a long time to build that. Like, I thought, oh, I'll just do it real quick. No, there's no real quick about it. This is a commitment. But yeah, it looks really good and it works really good. So yeah, I have enough wool that I can make tracks of the appropriate wool color. So I'll just have rainbows flying off of this. It'll be nice. Yay! 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 So yeah, look at me, happy Minecraft creation stuff. Okay. You could even go down and look at it from this direction. This is the reset line. No, this line determines if you go up or down. Or not up or down, but like high or low. How about that? The purple line determines if you're high or low. Alright. Whatever, dudes. Whatever. Alright. So, happy Pride Week. Pride Month. Now, why do we need a month of Pride for gay people and for non-cisgendered people? Why do we need a month of Pride? Because, like, gay people, non-cis people have had a history of oppression. They have been oppressed and violence rained down upon them. And even today, even now, they face issues like conservatives, bigots, racists, white supremacists want to take away their right to get married. That's one thing. They want to take away their right to get married. Another thing is that they continue the right-wingers continue their attack on trans people. I was just reading a story on KRNV. Was it KRNV or maybe, because like that's a station that loves to scapegoat trans people. KRNV, a division of Sinclair Media. And so it likes to, you know, for their 2-minute hate, they like to run stories about trans people. And they ran a story about how this mother was defending her trans daughter competing in a sport event in the girls division and winning, and she won. The trans girl won. So since the trans girl won, there's all sorts of bigots coming out of the woodwork to misgender her, to call her bad names, to heap hate upon the transgendered athlete. Because that's what they are. They're haters. They're haters. That's what they are. They're fucking haters. And then what is the thing they always say? They always say, oh, the trans girl should be competing with the boys, to make it more fair. To be fair. They always say that, to be fair. Like, when as a bigot ever fucking cared about being fair? Bigots are shit. I hate bigots. So they're crying like, oh, the trans girl should compete with boys to make it fair. So if that were true, if fairness were their motivating factor, then explain this. Mac Beggs, the dude right here, this dude right here, this guy, is Mac Beggs. You see him like wrestling a young woman, a young girl. He's wrestling a girl. Why is this dude wrestling a girl? Because he's wrestling a girl and he beat them all and like he won the championship in Texas. Why would a trans man be competing? Oh, because he's trans, right? That's why. That's why it's happening. He's a trans dude competing against girls in a wrestling tournament, and he kicked all their asses. He beat them all. But you don't ever hear bigots saying, "Oh, Mac Begg should be in the boys division for fairness." They don't give a fuck about fairness. They don't give a fuck. Texas, on purpose, made Mac Beggs compete against the girls. He wanted to compete against boys, right? Because he's a boy. He wanted to compete against boys. But Texas wouldn't let him. Is it because of fairness? No way, dude. Mac Beggs has a lot of testosterone, a lot more weight, a lot more muscles than these girls. So it's not about fairness. It wasn't that they wanted to be fair. What they want to do is push their own bigoted ideas. And in their own bigoted mind, it's not about fairness. It's about what's in your pants. Because Republicans, bigots are all about big government, big intrusive government. Understand that. I grew up hearing all sorts of things about the Republicans, that they're the they want a government small enough to drown in a bathtub. They want no government interference in our private lives. That's all bullshit. Republicans want a giant government that's very, very intrusive in every aspect of your life. They want to make sure that you live life according to what they think. And they're bigots. They're bigots. So if it were really about fairness, if they were really about fairness, you would think Texas, a conservative state, would force Mac Beggs to compete against boys, because that way they have similar body structures and testosterone levels and strength levels, right? If it were really about fairness. But it's not about fairness. It's about keeping up their stupid ideas. So they forced Mac Beggs to compete against girls. Here we go again, right? They made this dude compete against girls. Not because it's fair, but because they care about what's in your pants. They want to know what's in your pants. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Happy Pride Month. That's why we have Pride, because we still have bigots fucking up everyone's life. With big government getting involved in shit they shouldn't be getting involved in. Oh man, where do I even start? Mac Beggs. Yeah, okay, I can tell a story. So I went outside. I went outside yesterday. And as you know, right? Or maybe you don't. A few weeks ago, I talked shit about a pot shop business because it was selling Donald Trump gear. Donald Trump wants to recriminalize the pot business. So basically, the pot shop was selling merchandise that would, for a candidate that would end their business. And Donald Trump is a fascist, so that's the other side of it. So I talked shit about that shop. Yes. So I went out and to my local food truck amalgamation establishment, and I was just eating and listening to a Sublime cover artist who played a bunch of Sublime songs, and I overheard people talking, and I overheard someone say that I was a shit talker. Yeah, that's true. I am a shit talker. I talk shit about bigots and white supremacists. That's right. If you voted for Donald Trump, I'll talk shit about you. That's right. So in a way, it's like an inoculation. Because if you're a bigot and a racist, you're not going to want to talk to me, which is good, because I don't want to talk to you either. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, if you're a Trump voter, I'm gonna hold that against you. Yes. Yes. So what's the other thing I said? The majority of white people voted for Donald Trump. That's true. It's true. The majority of white people voted for Donald Trump. If I hold a vote for Donald Trump against you, then yeah, and I live in Oregon, where the majority of people are white. Not all of them, right? But the majority of people, and not all white people are Trump supporters. So I can't just put a blanket like, oh, I don't like white people. I can't do that, because, you know, you gotta judge people according to the individual, not according to the group. So I don't judge all white people by saying, oh, all white people are Trump supporters. No, I know a lot that are not Trump supporters, but enough are Trump supporters to be the majority. So, like, if I'm eating at this establishment and the majority of people are white, I mean, it's not like I'm seeking out pro-Trump area. I don't even know if it's pro-Trump, right? There was nothing outside to indicate any kind of political affiliation whatsoever. There was nothing there. Even a white person, I don't know what they are. Like, because all white people are different. They could be a Trump supporter, or they could not be a Trump supporter. Trump supporter, fascist. You know, Trump supporter is shorthand for fascist. I don't know. I don't know who's a fascist, but you know, I'm gonna go out there and live my life. That's funny. So yeah, here's this train station I made. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. It's pretty big, man. 15. I can only do 15 because the reset line here only goes 15. I guess I could break it up. I can make it. I can potentially see if I can make it bigger. I mean, I've done it before. I've made some other things bigger. I should look into that. I should see if I can add a second side to it. But yeah, okay, so what else do I got going here? So, COVID is coming back. COVID. So, Florida update from May 28th. Miami COVID prevalence is at a very high 153 and set to increase. Tampa is at a high of 24 and stabilizing. Orlando is at a high of 24 and set to increase. So that's in Florida. And then in New York, highly infectious new COVID strain from China that led to massive spike in hospitalizations has spread to the U.S., including New York City. So, you know, the last time Donald Trump had a COVID crisis, he totally mismanaged it. But he did do one thing right, which was he did Operation Warp Speed. Trump did Operation Warp Speed. When Donald Trump did that, it prioritized the creation of a COVID vaccine. So Donald Trump was responsible for getting the COVID vaccine out as fast as possible. I don't like to give Donald Trump praise for anything. But I'll give him praise for getting the COVID vaccine out as fast as possible. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, we may not have gotten the COVID vaccine as quickly. So all those Republicans have something they can point to Donald Trump and say, oh, look, he did something good. Donald Trump got the COVID vaccine out as fast as possible. He did something great. He did something good. But the problem is Donald Trump then hired a guy named Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That guy is a moron. He's stupid. He's just dumb. And Donald Trump made him the Secretary of Health and Human Services, at least the Health Department. And RFK Jr. RFK Jr. is an anti-vax. He doesn't believe in vaccinations. He believes all sorts of conspiracy theory nonsense. So he wrote a report to try and support his anti-vax stance. But the problem is he used AI to write his report. So when he wrote his report, that AI cited non-existent studies. It just made up shit. His report is filled with made-up nonsense in order to support his bullshit stance of anti-vax. So normally, if a leader submits a report that's erroneous and filled with nonsense, that leader would quit, saying, oh, obviously I'm not cut out to be a leader since I can't even fucking write an honest report. But that's not going to happen, right? Because the reason why RFK Jr. is not in his position is not because he's competent, but for purely political reasons. Remember, he was running a campaign against Donald Trump to be president. And he was taking votes away from Donald Trump. In a first-past-the-post system, like the United States, any third-party candidate is going to take away votes from the party they're closest to. So, real quick, to just remind you.
So we got this poll last night from Rasmussen, and it was they also did it like with Kennedy and with the other ones in there. Cornel West. He's one of my favorite candidates, Cornel West.
Why would Cornel West be one of Donald Trump's favorite candidates? Because Cornel West is a third-party candidate on the left. And we know, because of Duverger's law, that any third-party candidate in a two-party system is going to hurt the party they're closest to. So Cornel West's campaign hurt Kamala Harris's campaign. That's why Donald Trump likes him.
And I like her also, Jill Stein. I like her.
Why does Donald Trump like Jill Stein? Because Jill Stein had a third-party candidacy on the left. And Duverger's law tells us that any third-party candidacy in a two-party, in a first-past-the-post system will invariably end up taking votes away from the party they're closest to. Jill Stein was closest to Kamala Harris. Therefore, she took votes away from Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump likes her. But what about RFK Jr.? What about RFK Jr.? RFK Jr. is on the right of Donald Trump. So Duverger's law tells us if RFK Jr. is on the right of Donald Trump in a first-past-the-post system, he will take votes away from Donald Trump. So let's listen.
Very much. You know why? She takes 100% from them. He takes 100%. Kennedy's probably 50-50, but he's a fake. He's a fake. He's a total fake. You don't want to.
Why would Donald Trump say that Kennedy is a fake? Well, he told you. Kennedy takes 50-50. He takes half of the votes from Kamala Harris, but he takes half the votes from Donald Trump. So that's why Donald Trump says, well, he's a fake. He's a bad guy. Why then? Why would Donald Trump give a job to a guy he says is a fake guy, who's a total phony? Why would he turn around and give him a job? Because Donald Trump understands Duverger's law, number one, and number two. So, since Donald Trump understands Duverger's law, he wants to get rid of the candidacy for RFK Jr. So he proposed a deal to RFK Jr. He said, look, if you drop your candidacy and end all your runs in all the states, I will give you a job in the government. It doesn't matter that you're a fucking crackpot. It doesn't matter that you're a fake. All that matters is that you're taking votes away from me, so I need you to stop. And that's what he did. That's how RFK Jr. got his job. So he's not there because he's competent. He's there because he threatened Donald Trump's candidacy. And this is how they bribed him to not do it. So here's another one. RFK Jr.'s Maha report found it contained citations to non-existent studies. Failures uncovered as U.S. Health Secretary touted gold standard science in health report ordered by Trump team. So he raised up this study as the gold standard, the best of the best. And what has it done? It's filled with errors. It's an AI piece of shit filled with errors. His gold standard is got nothing to do with science and everything to do with ideology. It's gold standard because it fits his ideology, not because of the science is good. So here's another one. The Trump administration's Maha report cites non-existent scientific studies. There's new evidence that the White House's the Maha report, Making Our Children Healthy Again, relied in part on scientific research that doesn't exist. After Donald Trump and his White House team unveiled the Maha report last week, the New York Times noted the documents echoed talking points Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has championed for decades. That's why it was called the gold standard. Not because the science was good, but because it echoed this dude's fucking anti-vax stance. So he went back and did it again, right? He's like, I'm just going to get rid of those studies that are fake. That's what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said. I'm going to get rid of those studies. He did it again. RFK Jr. swaps made-up studies in his report for more made-up studies. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was called out for using fake studies in his AI-generated report, but in fixing them, he just inserted more errors. Sure. I'm gonna have to stop here for a second, or just pause for a moment when I go answer the door. But that's why. So the reports written by RFK Jr. are not competent reports. They're not truthful reports. They're not good reports. They're reports that support his ideology. They're ideological reports. Yeah, so it has nothing to do with science. We know why. Oh, wait, I'll be right back. All right. Fuck that guy, RFK Jr. Fuck him. It was never about. So that's something you have to like. That's a pattern you should take into account. It's for Republicans. It's never about the science or the truth. That's all secondary, right? The truth is secondary. The truth doesn't even matter. What matters is if it supports the ideology. What if the ideology is wrong? They don't fucking care. That makes them bad people. So another bad guy is Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, supposedly he's leaving government, but he's not really leaving government. So what he's done so far is he's gutted all these government programs. The Voice of America, USAID, AmeriCorps, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the National Endowments for the Humanities, the Department of Education, the U.S. Institute of Peace, the Food and Drug Administration, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Internal Revenue Service, the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, the weather station, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the National Science Foundation. These are all the things that the Nazi Elon Musk has decimated, has destroyed. He didn't save us any fucking money, but he wrecked everything that made America great. Why? Because science threatens ideology. Remember, RFK Jr. didn't write a report based on science. He wrote a report based on ideology. Science, therefore, is their enemy. They don't like science because science will show that they're only motivated by ideology. They hate science. So wait, I want to keep going with him. So these are a list of companies. Ooh, shit. Wrong one. These are a list of companies owned by oh, not that bottom one. These ones here. These are lists of companies owned by Elon Musk, Nazi, and these are the departments that Elon Musk targeted: the Justice Department, the Agriculture Department, Defense Department, Federal Trade Commission, NASA, State Department, Transportation, SEC, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the EPA, Energy. All these agencies are in conflict with Elon Musk's companies. So, in order to get around the conflict, in order to get rid of the conflict, to stop these government agencies from interfering in Elon Musk's businesses, he eliminated them because they're all against him. He's not a brilliant guy. Elon Musk is a fucking moron. And all he did was use his power and wealth to get rid of the agencies that were investigating his bad companies. I mean, X anymore, it used to be Twitter. Now it's just a Nazi bar. Now just Nazis hang out there. It's so bad. So Elon Musk himself is like, I understand people take drugs. That's fine. Whatever. People are responsible for themselves. But there's one thing about taking drugs on your own time, responsibly, and then there's taking drugs when you're supposed to be working. That's Elon Musk. Elon Musk, world's richest Nazi, is a fucking drug addict. Here he is in the White House during Donald Trump's press conference. He's right there with Donald Trump during his press conference.
It's a very sad case. It's a case we win. We can't lose that case.
Look at him, dude.
We have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any
He's
grants
tripping.
like that. But I don't think Harvard's been acting very nicely. I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, that are acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot.
It's kind of weird, huh? Here, do that again without the noise. Just watch him. Dude is on drugs. He's on fucking drugs. Which is fine and all, but he shouldn't be on drugs while he's fucking running the government. Because he's basically running the government. Look at him. This guy's just like looking at things that aren't there, fucking in his own world. And it's not the only time. There's other times he did it too. It's a pattern. Look at him. It's a pattern. Now, I've heard it said that that's related to ketamine. I heard that Elon Musk used so much ketamine that he wrecked his bladder and he pisses himself now. Like, I don't know. I've never used ketamine. I don't know what that's up. What's up with that? But that's ketamine. Remember, ketamine's the drug they used to kill Elijah McClain. Remember those cops in Colorado? Elijah McClain was walking home from work, or walking home at night. He was just walking home at night. Two cops rolled up, fucking snatched him, and injected him with ketamine, and he died. And the cops got away with it. Right? Fascism. It's fascism. For black people, it's always been fascism here. And black people's struggle is to have the freedoms and liberties promised, and the justice promised by our founding fathers. You said this was a country based on liberty and justice, and we demand that we receive that liberty and justice. But America is a white supremacist nation. It was built upon white supremacy and genocide. Like, that doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. You have to deal with it. And we see it all the time. Elijah McClain was murdered by a bunch of cops using ketamine, the same the same drug that Elon Musk, world's richest Nazi, is using while he's standing in the White House. Fuck. This is an interesting little tidbit. So TERFs, I forget what TERFs stand for, but they're basically anti-trans. TERFs are anti-trans people. TERFs will say there are only two sexes, but biologists say, well, genetics is more complicated than that, more complex than that. Anthropologists will say, well, culture is more complex than that. And mycologists, people who study fungi, will tell you this. Perhaps the most mesmerizing. The Schizophylum commune, split gill commune. They have 23,328 biological sexes, distinct mating types. Individuals of any mating type are compatible for mating with most other mating types. They remind me of ball gowns and fractals. So this is the fungi with 23,000 different distinct biological sexes. So the bigots who are trying to say there's only two genders, there's only two sexes, are fucking full of shit. They don't have science on their side. They don't have science. All they have is ideology. That's it. And in order to hold on to ideology, they have to get rid of science. Fuck those bigots. So yeah, dude, I'm a shit talker. That keeps away trash from me. If you're a bigot, if you hate trans people, if you hate gay people, I don't want to talk to you. I want nothing to do with you. I do not want to associate with you. Now, but of course, I don't know what you are unless you make it known to me. Otherwise, I have to treat everyone like, okay, like, as an individual. So, fun fact, Pam Keith, fun fact, gambling is illegal in Hawaii, but totally legal in Nevada. So the question is, should Hawaii be able to prosecute Hawaiians who go to Vegas to gamble? If you answer no, you are just scratching the surface of the breathtaking unconstitutionality of the Georgia abortion ban. What is the Georgia abortion ban? The Georgia abortion ban says if you go to another state to get an abortion, where in the state where it's legal, people in the government in Georgia can prosecute you for committing a crime. Yes, Georgia wants to prosecute you for getting an abortion in a state where abortion is legal. Which is stupid, right? That's stupid. It'd be like Georgia prosecuting you for gambling in Nevada when it's legal to gamble in Nevada. But when you go home, they prosecute you. Isn't that stupid? Same thing with abortion. Georgia wants to prosecute you if you go to if you get an abortion in a state where abortion is legal. That's what I mean when I say Republicans and conservatives love big government. They love big intrusive government. They want government to be all up in your business all the time. And to be all up in your business all the time, it needs to be really big and intrusive. And Republicans and conservatives love that shit. I was lied to all those years. They told me they wanted a government small enough to drown in a bathtub, but they lied. They were really about controlling everyone's life. So, like, you can look at it and be like, all right, maybe it's a religious thing. Maybe religion is to blame for all these people being the way they are. It's not that they're white, it's that they're or it's not that they're conservative, it's their religion. Their religion makes them that way. Well, let's look at their religion. All voters, when we look at the people who voted in 2024 for Donald Trump or for Harris, so you get all the voters. It was basically in this one, it was 50% to 48%. In PRRI is the company that did this. White evangelical voters, 85% of white evangelical voters voted for Donald Trump. So go, oh wow, that must mean evangelical Protestantism must be like very, very promoting Donald Trump. But then you look at the black Protestants, and only 16% of black Protestants voted for Donald Trump. So is it the religion? It can't be the religion, because they're the same religion. It's the same religion. But they're on opposite sides. It's the same religion, opposite sides. So it's not really the religion. Unless it's not really the same religion. I mean, I guess you can make an argument that black Protestantism and white Protestantism are different things. They're worshiping different things. I make that argument all the time. I say that they're not really Christians. They're actually worshiping the white idol. But see, then I run into people saying, "Oh, but that's the same argument that Zionists will make about Jewish people." Zionists will say that American Jews are not real Jews because they're not observant or whatever, or they're not real Jews. So what makes me different from a Zionist? Well, because I can point back to the source material. Like, I don't know hardly anything about Judaism, right? I don't know. It's a religion, but it's also an ethnic group. So I don't really understand that. I don't understand how you can make someone not part of an ethnic group. Like, if they're part of an ethnic group. Like, and I'm using my own personal experience for that, right? Because in my own personal experience, biologically, genetically, I'm half Filipino. But I was not raised in a Filipino environment. No Filipino, I had no Filipino family. I had no Filipino culture. No nothing. So even though biologically I'm Filipino, I don't identify with it because I don't have any culture to it. I don't know anything about Philippines. Right? I was raised as a Catholic. And so I understand and I know the message of Jesus of Nazareth. I know what he was talking about. And I can compare what he was talking about with the actions and the political stances of each side. So I can look at people who claim to be Christian but follow Donald Trump. And I look and I say, well, how does their support of Donald Trump comport with the teachings of Jesus? How do they comport? They don't. There's no overlap. Jesus tells you that rich people are bad and they won't get into heaven. But MAGA loves the rich. MAGA loves rich people. Jesus doesn't say anything about abortion, but he's friends with all the prostitutes. MAGA, sex workers, sorry. Dude, I'm old. Sorry about that. Jesus didn't say anything about abortion, but he's friends with all the sex workers. And then you have Trump supporters who, in general, are anti-women's health. They don't want women to have reproductive health. They want women to be slaves to men again, just because of biology, just because they're able to carry a child. So Jesus says to love everyone, but MAGA has hierarchies of who's worthy of love and who's not, because they're racists, right? The whole side is racist. Their whole party is racist. So none of that comports with the teachings of Jesus Christ. Therefore, I can say maybe they're not really following Jesus. There's another thing that they're following though, and that's the white idol, an idol of whiteness. Because what is whiteness? Whiteness is privilege. And if you arrange your life to support privilege and whiteness, then what your real God is not the God of Jesus Christ, of Jesus, but the God of the idol of whiteness. Your whiteness is an idol, and they follow it. So they're idol worshippers. I would say that white evangelicals who vote for Donald Trump are idol worshippers. Not because they're not true Christians. Well, yeah, because they're not true Christians based on the comparison of their actions to the teachings of Jesus Christ. Here's another way of looking at it. Oh, that's not another way of looking at it. But here, something else. Yeah, real quick. Sleepy Donald. Donald Trump is too old to be president. He's too old. He's always falling asleep at all these social functions. He just can't do it. He's too old. He's way too old. We already found out that an 80-year-old guy can't do the job. We already found out with Biden. Biden said he could do the job, but when it came to the debates, he couldn't handle it. And I know the debates weren't exactly fair, right? Donald Trump just spewed a torrent of bullshit and lies and was never checked. But Joe Biden couldn't check him. Couldn't do anything to check him. So, like, yeah, I guess there is an age where you just can't do the job anymore. And Donald Trump is there. He's falling asleep. He just can't do it. He just can't do the job. Donald Trump is too old for the job. The 35 richest Republican members of Congress have a collective net worth of $2.5 billion. They stand to gain from the GOP budget's tax cuts that disproportionately help the rich. Meanwhile, they're cutting Medicaid and food assistance for millions of their constituents. So Republicans, politicians, are literally cutting food and medicine to the poorest Americans so that they can give themselves a tax cut and make more money. So they can be richer. Oh, this is another one. An epidemiologist at Columbia had to issue a statement saying the research article RFK Jr. cited with her name is fake. The paper itself doesn't exist. Y'all, this is fascism. Fake science articles used by the government to influence policy is fascism. This is horrifying. RFK Jr. doesn't have science on his side. He just makes up shit in order to get his ideology enacted. Okay, so Donald Trump is protecting Russia. Like, we all know, right? We all know that Donald Trump is wrapped up with Russia. He's been wrapped up with Russia for decades. And this tweet proves it. So Donald Trump, not tweet, his whatever, on his social media, Donald Trump said, "What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia." So Donald Trump is protecting Russia. A lot of really bad things would have happened to Russia, but Donald Trump protected Russia. I mean, like, it's obvious, right? It's obvious. So I know a lot of Republicans are pro-Russia. A lot of Republicans are pro-Russia. Why would Republicans be pro-Russia? Because they have the same ideology of white supremacy. So Ukraine launched an attack against Russia. They used a shit ton of cheap-ass drones that they made themselves, right? They didn't buy these from other countries. They made these themselves. They made thousands and thousands and thousands of drones. And then they fired them. They drove them. So here we go. The Special Operation Web, as a result of which the SBU hit 41 Russian strategic aviation aircraft bombers, it was prepared for over a year and a half. So they worked a year and a half to get this operation off. The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, personally supervised the operation, and the plan was implemented by Vasyl Malyuk and the team of the service. According to sources, this operation was extremely complex from a logistical point of view. The SBU first transported first-person view drones to Russia and later mobilized wooden houses. Later, on the territory of the Russian Federation, the drones were hidden under the roofs of houses already placed on trucks. At the right moment, the roofs of the houses were remotely opened. The drones flew to strike the Russian bombers. We have unique photos showing exactly how drones were prepared to attack the military airfields. Sources in the SBU emphasize that the people who took part in this historic special operation have been in Ukraine for a long time. So, if the Putin regime demonstratively detains someone, it will be another staged event for the domestic audience. So what they're saying is, for a year and a half, Ukraine produced first-person view drones, and then put them on trucks, and then drove them into Russia. They drove the trucks filled with drones and explosives into Russia and into houses around Russia. And in these houses there would be roofs. The roofs that it wasn't a real house. It was a make-believe house that looked real from the outside. And when the time came, from inside Ukraine, they opened up the roofs of these houses and out flew all the drones. And they attacked a Russian military base and blew up 41 bombers, Russian bombers. Because, Russia is invading Ukraine, and Russia is, if Russia doesn't have any bombers, it can't bomb Ukraine. So yeah, they took out a third of Russia's bombers in this attack. Pretty big, dude, pretty big. Trump was not informed of the Russian attack on of the Ukrainian attack on Russia. Because why would you tell Donald Trump about your sneak attack? He would for sure tell Putin about it. For sure. Because Donald Trump is an asset of Russia. He's not on our team, guys. He's not our chat. He's not on our team. He's on Team Russia. Watch. Ukraine destroys 40+ Russian bombers in airport strike. So yeah, the Ukrainians launched a great attack against a Russian military base and destroyed 41 bombers. That sounds pretty good, right? What does Russia do? Let's see. What does Russia do? Oh! Russia sustained large-scale attacks by Russia armed forces, kill and injure civilians across Ukraine. So Ukraine attacks military targets in Russia. Russia attacks civilians in Ukraine. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Republicans tend to gravitate toward Russia because they have the same value system. They support fascism. They support ethnic nationalism. They support like racism. They hate gay people, and they hate democracy, and they attack women and children. It makes sense, right? It makes sense. Republicans in Russia are very, very, very similar. That's why they work together. And Ukraine doesn't attack women and children. It attacks the military that's attacking them. Self-defense. So it's pretty clear who's the moral country in this war. And it's not Russia. Russia is the terrorist nation. Ukraine is the moral nation that we should defend to defend its democracy. I mean, I understand Donald Trump is a fascist who's not a friend of democracy, but keep that in mind, that we have to defend not only Ukraine's democracy, but America's democracy as well. So, real quick, this is a map, but I never saw this. I never thought about the profit thing here. Okay, this is a map showing the life expectancy and health expenditure. Hold on, move over. Life expectancy versus health expenditure over time. So this is how long people live and how much their country spends on healthcare. So if we back up here, down here is the amount of money you spend on your healthcare. And up on this side is how long you're expected to live. Okay, so we got countries like Chile, pretty high, and they spend way less money, right? Hardly any money. Then you got Japan, the highest, and they spend about $4,000, but they have the most life expectancy. All right, so it's not necessarily true that spending a lot of money will lead to a higher life. Even when you spend very little money, you can still have a high life expectancy because of the system. Now, if you look at the United States, they spend the most money on healthcare. Americans spend the most money on healthcare, and they also have the lowest life expectancy. How come America spends the most money on healthcare but has the worst healthcare outcomes? Why is that? Well, the United States is the only nation here, of all these nations, the United States is the only nation without some form of universal healthcare. We don't have universal healthcare. That explains why we spend the most money on healthcare, because it's all privatized. We don't have a universal healthcare system. At the same time, we have the lowest life expectancy. So how does that work? How come we spend the most money but have the lowest life expectancy? What is that huge gap between our life expectancy and everyone else's life expectancy? And someone filled it in for me. Someone told me it's profit. It's profit. This is what Luigi was talking about. This is what Luigi's about. Luigi understood that the difference between healthcare outcomes and healthcare expenditures is about profit. The reason why we die sooner, even though we pay more money, is because the healthcare companies got to make money somehow. Health insurance has got to make money somehow, and that's how they do it. They do it by denying healthcare to people. They take your money but don't give you healthcare. That's profit for them. That makes profit for them. If that profit were gone, we would have a better life healthcare outcomes. But we don't. But for some reason, Republicans, white people who are white supremacists, not all white people, the white supremacists, have created a system like this. And I can say that because look, the Democrats tried to do something about it. Remember when Obama had a trifecta? He spent his political capital, the Democrats spent their political capital to pass the American Health Care Act to cover as many Americans as possible. When Donald Trump got his trifecta, he used his political capital to make a tax cut for the very rich. Then when Biden got his trifecta, he used his political capital to pass the Inflation Reduction Act, capping the cost of medical expenses, cut student loan debt, created infrastructure. He did a bunch of stuff. That's what he did with his power. Now we have the Trump administration again with its second trifecta, and what are they doing with the political capital for the second trifecta? Cutting taxes for the rich again. So it's very clear. It's very clear. Republicans are all about the very wealthy, the very rich. Fuck everyone else. It's the very rich. And since they're the ones that we're wrestling with, that's why there's this big gap. We can't take care of the problem because Republicans want this kind of outcome. Republicans, they want this outcome. Like, go talk to rural people who live in rural areas with only one hospital, like far away. You go talk to them, and they will tell you they hate healthcare. They fucking hate doctors. They hate medicine. They hate science. Rural people fucking hate being healthy. They hate it. They want to get rid of all the doctors. They want to get rid of all the hospitals. And and like, actually, I haven't actually, so that's true, right? I haven't actually talked to them. All I can do is look at their actions. That's all. I can only look at their actions. And consistently, rural people tend to vote to get rid of, for politicians that will end their health care. So I can deduce, I can't see directly, but I can deduce that if you consistently vote against health care, you must not like health care. And you'll say, oh, that's not fair. You're not being fair about of rural people. Am I? Am I not being fair? Do they not vote for Republicans who consistently fuck them over? I mean, they must not like healthcare. Why else would they do this? They must not like it. Consistently. So here's the thing, though. I'm not saying that Democrats are perfect. Far from it. Democrats are fucked up too. Democrats can be fucked up. Here, let me give you an example. So, this was like December 2024. So, Biden is still, like, Biden is a lame duck president at this point. And Biden is trying to fill as many court vacancies as possible before Donald Trump gets in. So, Biden nominated this guy, right? He's fine. He's fine. He's qualified. He's educated. Everything about him was great. But he is blocked. This guy is blocked by who? By Democrats. By 3 Democrats blocked this guy because he's a Muslim. Wait a minute. Blocking someone for their religion? Not because of them, but for what they for their spirituality? That sounds awfully Republican. It does, doesn't it? It sounds like a Republican would do something like that. Well, guess what? Who one of the 3 people were that blocked him? One of the 3 people to block him was Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin from West Virginia. That guy was basically a Republican. He's the guy who negotiated on behalf of the Republicans to limit the scope of the Democrats' legislation. Because Democrats needed his vote, because they needed his vote in order to pass, Joe Manchin basically just repeated all the Republican talking points and turned the ambitious Democratic bill into like really watered down version. I mean, it's still better than nothing, but it's nowhere near what we needed. It was nowhere near it. So Joe Manchin was one of the bad Democrats to sink this guy's nomination. Who were the other two bad Democrats that sunk this guy's nomination? He was a Democrat, nominated by a Democrat, but because he was Muslim, they voted against him. 2 Democrats from Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto and Senator Jackie Rosen. The 2 Nevada senators. So 2 Nevada senators joined with the Republican senator to stop Biden from filling this seat. 2 Nevada Democrats, Jackie Rosen and Cortez Masto. Like, what are you guys doing, you dumbasses? That's so stupid. Why would you fucking do that? So, okay. Maybe the Democrats, maybe these 2 Democrats have something in mind. These Nevada Democrats, maybe they have a plan. Maybe they're playing 4D chess that I don't understand, right? Maybe that's what the thing is. Maybe. No. No. So, since Jackie Rosen and Cortez Masto stopped Biden from filling the seat, Donald Trump came in. And Donald Trump said, you know who would fit good in that seat? My personal lawyer. Trump to tap his former lawyer, Emil Bove, for 3rd Circuit. So because Democrats Jackie Rosen and Cortez Masto refused or blocked the Muslim guy from getting his seat, they kept it open for Donald Trump's personal lawyer. And now that court flips from Democratic control to Republican control. I understand why Joe Manchin would do it. I don't understand why Jackie Rosen and Cortez Masto would do it. It just makes them sound like Republicans. Like they're bad people. So no, I'm not like a Democrat fanboy, right? I'm not like, woo woo, vote blue no matter who. Like, I kind of am, because we're in a first past the post system. But just because I am doesn't mean I'm happy about it. There's a bunch of dumb shit that the Democrats do too. Like, hold open a seat for Donald Trump. But even so, yeah, I'm not a Democratic fanboy. I would prefer if we had ranked choice voting. That way, we could vote for who we really want and force the two parties to compete, actually compete. I'm a shit talker. and it serves its purpose. It keeps bad people away from me. All right, that'll do it for me. I mean, no, not really. Here. I'm a shit talker, right? I'm a shit talker. But you know who else is a shit talker? Donald Trump. Did you see his message for Memorial Day? Most of it was shit. Most of it was bullshit. I'll let you. But here's Donald Trump's message for Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day, scum. Destroy, warped, radical, criminals, mentally insane, incompetent, murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, rob, murder, and rape, USA hating, sick, monsters, go to hell. Memorial Day. Donald Trump. The best shit talker in the world. That guy talks so much shit, it's ridiculous. Let's contrast Donald Trump's Memorial Day message with Kamala Harris's message. What did Kamala Harris say? We honor those members of our military who sacrificed their lives in order to defend our freedoms. We owe these heroes and their loved ones everything, not just on Memorial Day, every day. I didn't have to cross out anything. I don't see the words rapist, USA hating, criminals, drug dealers, radical. Like, I don't see any of those bad words. It's only positive message from Harris. So yeah, this is about our values as a country. It's an important time. One side are fascists that have no regard for humanity and are fixing to do a mass deportation of all non-white people. Ethnic cleansing, genocide, concentration camps. They're already doing it, right? That's one side. And the other side is not perfect. It's not perfect, but at least most of the values are similar. So yeah, I talk shit and they talk shit. We both talk shit about each other. That's true. Understand where we're at as a country. We got a bunch of fucking white supremacists trying to destroy our nation. I mean, they've succeeded in a lot of ways. Because, Donald Trump is not going to leave office willingly. Let's hope he dies, right? Let's hope Donald Trump dies. It would be the best, cleanest thing to happen for the country is if Donald Trump dies before the election. Because if Donald Trump is still alive when 2026 comes up, is it 2020? No, 2028. If Donald Trump is still alive in 2028, oh my God, that's so long. He's gonna try to overthrow the government again, just like he did the last time. If he's still alive and he fails in his coup attempt, I want to see him in prison or executed by the United States for treason. Yeah, I talk shit. You're right. I spent 3 years standing outside the Salem Saturday Market holding a sign saying Donald Trump is a Nazi. Uh-huh. And I give you, every week I give you proof. I give you more and more proof why Republicans are Nazis and white supremacists. Why they're Confederates. Who do not share the values of Americans. Of what multiracial democracy. Every week I tell you this. It's not like a new thing. It's not like you're surprised. It's not like I just started talking shit about Republicans. So yeah, that makes my standing in my community a little bit weird. When I go out to eat at a local restaurant, it's a little bit weird. There's additional calculations that have to be made. But anyways, until next week, Pogo Kiddo out. Peace. Stop.